Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Trackman 44 here. Hey, we've been kind of looking at and working on some old stuff lately, but I hadn't ever worked on one of these old things, to speak of on the YouTube channel. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to move this guy into the shop, and we're going to see if I can get a little fire out of it, see if we can make it run. I've had this thing for close to 15 years. I got it from the original owner's grandson. He was nearing retirement at the time, and he said he hadn't seen it run since he was a young man, probably in his 30s. So it was probably 30, 35 years before that. So this thing definitely has not run in 35 or 40 years, absolute minimum. So I've got the fuel tank back there. There's a little box that comes with it. I guess it had a battery or some kind of a coil or something in it. Don't know, haven't figured it all out yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and see what I can do to see if I can make this thing run. Now this is obviously a one-cylinder engine or an old one-lugger, and I'm almost certain it's going to be a make and break. It's not going to be throttle governed, I don't think. Now, I'm sure there'll be people out there that know a heck of a lot more about them than I do, just about anybody as a matter of fact, and they can certainly enlighten me. But this is a Galloway. I did look up the serial number one time, and I could not find anything on this particular serial number because it wasn't recorded, but it looked to me like this 10,931. If I remember right, it's been 15 years now. I want to say it was around 1912 or 1915, something like that. I don't know. I have to look it up all over again. But I'm going to go ahead and move this in the shop, and we'll see if we can at least get started on it a little bit before butchering time. I'll probably have to move it back outside and cover it up again whenever we go to butchering, but at least maybe I'll get it cleaned up and ready to do something. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to figure out how to lift this with those without putting any pressure or strain on your flywheels with the chokers. You want to know some of these things, they're a little wider than what they are, and they're definitely a lot heavier than this one. But you never really want to pick up from the flywheels up on top, because if you think about the physics behind it, if you're pulling from that top part of those two flywheels, and the crankshaft is the only thing across there, and the bearings that hold the crankshaft in place, that's a tremendous amount of weight that's being exerted on the outside edges of the crankshaft, which means the center of the crankshaft is going to want to bend down. So you don't want to pick up, maybe a little one like this probably won't hurt much, but much bigger than this one here, you definitely do not want to pick from the top of the flywheels. You can definitely do some damage by picking them up in the wrong way. And of course, you got to make sure you pick it up in a manner in which you're not going to drop it. So that's what we're going to do. So hang in there a little bit. I'm going to figure out how to get these chokers on here, guys. Okay, I've got it to where there's no pressure from the chokers on anything mechanical at all. I do have to check one point though. I stopped and put one little shim underneath there, so there's absolutely no pressure on that bar. Hey guys, there's another point I need to make. You noticed I had the choker wrapped around a chain with a shackle, and or attached to the chain with a shackle, and then I had the chokers over the cutting edge of the bucket. And you notice me actually curling the bucket and actually putting pressure on those nylon chokers. You don't really want to do that on a job site. That gets you not fired, but it'll get you reprimanded pretty quick. But out here, you know, I'm only lifting this one time. It's taking 10 minutes to do this. It's not going to cut those off or sever them or anything, or it might do a little damage to them, but it doesn't matter. I'm out here in the country. On a job site, that's a point to be considered, simply because you got manpower underneath those loads and around those loads while you're lifting and moving things like that. So that's a no-no. I shouldn't even do it myself, but I had to, because I had too long of chokers and too low a clearance in order for me to lift my loader up high enough, so I had to curl the bucket in order to get that lift to get these inside the door. So, but you ain't supposed to do that. I just thought I better point that out, because there'll be somebody that caught that. There ain't no doubt about it. And also on shackles, when you have your shackle and you're pinned through the shackle like this, you don't ever really want to side load your shackle. In other words, you don't put your shackle horizontally and pull this direction on the U and the other direction on the U, with that U laying open as the connection point. You always want to turn that to where it's in series with the load, to where your threaded part is on one choker and then the U-shaped part is on the other choker. That ensures you've got a good capacity. So there's right and wrong ways to do it, and that's probably not technically right, but it's by far better than side loading. But again, on something little like this, 800-900 pounds, 1,000 pounds, it ain't going to matter that much. So at any rate, hey, I guess I can point out this oiler that's right here on the front. That was broken whenever I got it. That's the only thing that I know of that was actually broken. There's no magneto in this, which means this probably has a buzz coil and an outside electrical source like a battery or whatever. And I did get an electrical box, an old nasty electrical box for this thing. I've got up over in another shed, and also got the original tank out there right next to where I had this thing here. So we'll be assimilating all that stuff as I do a little bit of research, and we'll start cleaning up and everything, you know, and trying to get everything lubricated and ready to spin pretty freely. Now, what I did all the time this was out here, I'd walk by every now and then, I'd reach up underneath, and I would give it a spin back and forth. I wouldn't never necessarily go all the way around, but I would make sure it wouldn't stick, you know what I mean? So that's a good thing. But now it's time to get a little more serious, you know? So hey, if that's it for this one here, and it probably should be, this is TractorMan 44, and I'm out of here.